prodigal son. What about the prodigal son? If you know the story of the prodigal son, this is a biblical story, okay? Jesus, the Messiah, the Son of God, okay, Jesus Christ, he gave a parable or a story of the prodigal son, okay? And in this story, I feel like I should read it. I just feel like I should read it. So we gonna go ahead over here and actually read this. Let me pull this up. And which screen should I use? This one? Yeah, we'll use this one. We're just gonna Google prodigal son. Boop, boop, boop. It should pull up the, okay. Apparently there's a lot of movies and episode with that same title. I gotta actually type in Bible so it takes us there. We got the NIV. For the sake of dramatization, we gonna go ahead and pull up that King James. That King James. See, King James. Is this the new King James? Then he said, a certain man had two sons, and the younger of them said to his father, no. That sound. We want that old English. We want that old boy. ch 21st century King James. Nope. I want that dramatic old English. Come on. Where you at? English stand. Nope. Where we at? There it is. Boop. Let's go. Let's go ahead and increase this font size because that old English I don't really read that. Okay, so the story of the prodigal son, straight from the Bible. We're going to read it real quick, and I want to make some points about it. It says, and he said, a certain man had two sons, and the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me. And he divided unto them his living. And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country, and there wasted his substance with riotous living. Okay? We're going to pause. We're going to explain. So you have a father. He has two sons. Okay? The younger of the sons said, Dad, you got a lot of stuff. Whatever it is that you saving up for me and my brother that you going to give us, give me mines today. Right? He said, divide it. Whatever you got, that inheritance, I don't want to wait for you to die. You looking too vibrant. You too happy. You don't look like you falling away anytime soon. And I'm trying to live it up. YOLO, my boy. And he says, Dad, give me mines today. And he gave it to him. Right? And it said the son took everything, all of it together, and he went far away. Right? It's like a dude today. It's like a young man here in Detroit getting his inheritance and going over there to Thailand. You feel me? Going all the way to China, going somewhere where he heard that they probably was selling box for the low. Right? And he went out there, and that's what his intentions are, to wild out. As you say, it said he wasted his substance with riotous living. Your boy was partying. He was having a good time. Okay? But he said he wasted his substance. He wasted everything he had just partying, having a great time. Okay? Let's continue to read. It says, and when he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine in that land, and he began to be in want. And when, wait. First of all, these glasses ain't really working, so we gonna. Says, and he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country, and he sent him into his fields to feed swine. And he would fain have filled his. Boy, this old English is crazy. And listen, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I thought it would be a little bit sweeter, but I just feel like the words is not well received. So what we gonna do is what we gonna do. Sheesh. Let me start this over real quick. We just gonna keep it basic. So it says, then Jesus said, a man had two sons. The younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the share of the estate that will belong to me. So he divided his assets between them. After a few days, the younger son gathered together all he had and left on a journey to a distant country. And there he squandered his wealth with a wild lifestyle. Then, after he had spent everything, a severe famine took place in that country, and he began to be in need. So he went and worked for one of the citizens of that country, who sent him to his fields to feed pigs. He was longing to eat the carob parts the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. All right, so yes, your boy go to his dad and say, give me my inheritance today. He goes out to a far country. He party. He blows everything. Times get real tough in that country. He thought he was going to be able to just make it happen. But he left his father. He left his father's house before he learned everything. Probably before he completely got everything he needed from his father, that tutelage. And he went out there and he fell flat on his face, and your boy was hungry. And so he eventually finds somebody in this country and he say, listen, let me just work for you. I'm hungry. I'm out here. And my man looked at him and said, man, you are dusty. He said, you dusty, and go feed my pigs in the fields. That's all the skills you got. You got no skills. I seen you out here partying and throwing money and simping out and throwing all your money at the hoes. Yeah. We gonna send you into the field and you gonna feed these pigs. He out there working in the field and he's feeding the pigs. And he looking at the pigs eating. You ever seen the pigs eat? And they just eating the slop, and the slop is disgusting. He looking at the slop that the pigs is eating, and his mouth is watering. He like, I'm so hungry. If I could just get a bite. And let's keep it a buck. Did he eat with the pig? He probably scooped up something. He probably was trying to eat with the pigs, but the other people there was like, hey man, get out of there. You can't eat that. That's for the pigs. Because it said they gave him nothing. So he was looking at what the pigs was eating. Probably looked at somebody like, man, if I could just get a scoop. They said, no. Nah, where your money at? Because it was a famine. Remember, it was a famine. So everybody was pretty much hungry. So wasn't nobody giving them nothing. No handouts whatsoever. And we'll read further on. He says, but when he came to his senses, he said, how many of my father's hired workers have food enough to spare? But here I am dying from hunger. I'll get up and go to my father and say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Treat me like one of your hired workers. So he got up and went to his father. But while he was still long away from the home, his father saw him, and in his heart went out to him. He ran and hugged his son and kissed him. Then his son said to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. But the father said to his slaves, hurry, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let us eat and celebrate, because this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. And so they began to celebrate. Let's talk about it. So the boy came to his senses. He like, bro, what am I doing out here? I'm out here hungry. I'm looking at pigs. My daddy is rich. His dad was rich. He said, my dad got workers that got plenty of food. My dad's workers are rich. They got so much food, they can share it. They be giving the folks like, hey, you down in your luck? I got you. And they just the workers, right? And he said, man, I'll just go back to my dad and say, Dad, I'm sorry. I messed up. I sinned against you. I took the inheritance. I tricked it off on hoes. I crashed out. I partied. I've been sleeping in the fields. I've been trying to steal food from pigs. Life is bad. And so I'm going to let him know, just make me a worker. Just give me a job, please. And I'm going to get back on my feet and I'm going to just work it off, right? And so he goes to his father. He humbled himself. He humbled himself. He goes all the way back home to his father. Let me pause for a second. All over the internet, I've been seeing a lot of TikTok videos and reaction videos of a lot of people talking about how hard it is to survive and that they're losing their jobs and that they're getting evicted and they can't pay their rent. Men and women crying on the internet that they done got laid off and that the economy is they say the economy is terrible. I, for one, think the economy is good. I think they're just spoiled and bad with money. I think they're entitled. I think they don't know really how to penny pinch. I think they believe that they're supposed to be able to eat the best of the best. You see, I've eaten green beans for dinner. That's right. Because that's all I had in the refrigerator. I couldn't even have ramen noodles with that. There was no more ramen noodles. There was green beans. And I had no money to go to the Coney Island and purchase food because I had to pay rent. I had to keep my lights on. And that's all I had was a bag of frozen green beans in my refrigerator. And I remember I steamed them up and I put green beans on the pot. I put some salt and pepper and I was just eating green beans for dinner. And like, I didn't even eat the whole plate of green beans that I made because I didn't want to eat green beans. Like, nobody wants to eat vegetables like that. But I've been down bad before on that level. And I didn't complain and ask anybody to do anything for me. I just made it happen. I just remember that time, and it wasn't that bad, right? I did what I had to do. But a lot of people feel like they shouldn't have to go through that. Most importantly, a lot of people feel like they shouldn't have to humble themselves and go back home. I tell people all day, why are you sleeping on the street? Why are you sleeping in your car? Go home. Nobody told you to move out to LA. Nobody's told you to move down to Miami. Go back home. A lot of homeless people have family. Yep. And those family members have a home. Let me tell you the problem. I've heard somebody say, I can't live with my family. I can't live with my mama. And then I can't live with my dad. And I'm like, why not? Oh, they got a way about them. I can't deal with that. And it's like, so you homeless. So you don't have to be homeless. You are just so rebellious and you're adverse to authority. You got a problem with authority is your problem. You don't want nobody telling you what to do. You don't like to listen. You hard-headed. And we got a place for you. It's called the street. Go ahead, lay on it. Go ahead, lay down on that concrete. We have a place for you rebellious, stiff-necked, hard-headed people. Life is going to show you. That's why most of y'all are homeless because y'all don't like authority. Literally, there are so many homeless shelters that are not filled to capacity. They not filled. But yet you got people on the street. You know why? Because homeless shelters have rules. They got rules that you have to abide by in order to be there. They tell you, hey, get here by this time. You don't get here by this time, you're on the street. Guess what? People be on the street because they don't want to adhere to the rules. Hey, no drugs, no smoking, no drinking, no alcohol, no acting crazy. Y'all got to listen. I'm going to just be on the street. Cool. Go and be on the street. Until we want to clean that street up, then we need you to get off the street. And if you don't listen, if you're going to just be disorderly, we got another place for you. We got a small little box, concrete wall for you with some bars. It's called jail. Yep. And this is because you have a problem with authority. You have a problem listening to people tell you what to do. You better get over that. You better learn to humble yourself. You better go home. Think about the prodigal son. I ain't even read the rest of it. We gonna get to the rest of the story, but think about it. My man was in a famine. He was down bad. He looking at pigs eat better than him. And they give pigs the leftover slop, filth, right? He humbled himself, went back home, right? And life was great. He was greeted by a loving father who kissed him, clothed him with the most luxurious robe that he could find. He told the servants, get the best one. Don't bring no rags. Put my son in silk. Put him in the bed. Put him in that velvet, that red velvet. Wrapped him up. He said, go get a ring. They like, a ring? He like, go on my room, get the jewelry out. Put the jewelry on him. I want him to feel rich. I want him to feel welcome. He said, get the fattened cow. You know what it means to get the fattened cow? Because they had cows. He said, go get the biggest one. Get the one we've been massaging. Get the Wagyu, right? He said, get that Kobe beef. Get the Kobe beef, right? That's what he told him. They massaged it. It was the fat one. And they slaughtered that bad boy, and they got to celebrating and having a festival, a feast, a party, a celebration. Because he said, my son was dead. We thought the boy was gone. It was over. I grieved the loss of my son. Now he was lost. Now he's found. He's alive again. What you mean? You back home, right? Let me continue reading the story. It says, now his older son was in the field. As he came and approached the house, he heard music and dancing. So he called out one of the slaves and asked what was happening. The slave replied, your brother has returned, and your father has killed the fattened calf because he got his son back safe and sound. Look at that. Even the slaves knew, like, the fat one. You know the fat one? You know that Kobe beef? They're like, okay. Let's read on. Look what the brother says. Hold on, where was I at? It says, but the older son became angry and refused to go in. His father came out and appealed to him, but he answered his father, look, these many years I have worked like a slave for you, and I never disobeyed your commands yet. You never gave me even a goat so that I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours came back, who has devoured your assets with prostitutes, I told you he was tricking it off on hoes. You killed the fattened calf for him? Oh, listen. The brother, I'm going to keep it a bug. The brother has a legitimate grievance, right? He like, hold on, bro. Hold on. He like, yo, this dude done tricked off all the money on hoes. He ain't just make bad investments and like it was bad luck. He went out on some dumb junk, tricking off he simped out. He out here paying all the single baby mama's rent, tricking all the money off on hoes, right? And he's like, you never gave me a goat. The fattened calf, you slaughtered the fat calf. You never gave me a goat that I could go celebrate with my peoples. So I could be like, yo, we living life. You ain't giving me nothing. I've been working like a slave hard, right? He flexed on his father like, yo, this is BS. I ain't going in there. Him. That's what he said to his brother, about his brother. I ain't going in there. I'm straight. That's what he's saying, right? But it says, then the father said to him, son, you are always with me, and everything that belongs to me is yours. It was appropriate to celebrate and be glad, for your brother was dead and is alive. He was lost and is found. Listen. When somebody is bad, this is the reason why I even wanted to talk about this. Is a lot of times when I would hear this story, right? The story in the parable is a reference to your relationship to God, and a lot of people leaving God and going to live their life, and they leave the protection of God and they go out into the world and they be on some bullshit, right? And the parable is when you find yourself out in the world, because the world is an ugly place. It's cold. It can be very ugly. When you find yourself out here spiritually starved, looking for food, right? You just have to remember your father. He's rich. And the people under him are also rich and overflowing with food, right? Spiritual food. And if you humble yourself and you go back to God, God basically will embrace you with open arms, and it will be a celebration. You'll be clothed in the finest of garbs. You'll be also rich. They gonna get you'll be fat. They slaughtered the fat calf, that Kobe beef. You had the best meal ever. They drank, they ate good food, they partied, they was looking good and smelling good. It was live, right? So this is the reference of the parable. But on another side of things, when I looked at it, it was always to the people that leave God, to say, hey, you can always return back to God. See, some people are the prodigal son, right? And to have hope that people will come back. Okay, so I wrote this and I wanted to touch on this. It says the other lesson is that the father, without question, gave his son his inheritance and allowed him to go out into the world. All right, couple things happen, right? As parents, we have to recognize that our children are our own people. They're their own people, and eventually they're gonna have to live their own life. As a parent, hopefully you've poured into them everything that they needed, but we can't protect our children from themselves and their own desires. For the most part, at some point they may be like the prodigal son. They may go out into the world and destroy everything. And we may want to get in their way. We may want to stop them. And we do our parts to kind of keep guard over our children and not just let them do whatever they want, right? But at a certain point, sometimes our children, they got to go and find out. They got to F around and find out. The goal is for them not to suffer, because we want to keep our children from suffering. But the lesson that I got from this is how the father was, allowed that to happen. But at the same time, he welcomed the son back with an abundance of love and forgiveness, right? So he allowed his son to basically go out into the world and fall on his face. And sometimes we have to do that. Sometimes we have loved ones and people in our life that we try to hold back from suffering, from self-inflicted wounds that they cause to themselves, right? We try to stop them. Hey, don't do that. You shouldn't do that. Why you doing that? Don't do that. Don't do this and that. And at a certain point, sometimes we just gotta let people fall on their face. It's like, I told you, I did my part, right? I did my part. You gotta go and find out. But the flip side is, when these people go, and this is in showing that God-like love, right? This is that agape, what they talk about, that level of love and forgiveness that you have. That in my mind, I think only parents know what this is. I think only parents have this level of love for their children. Outside of that, you may have never experienced this level of love. You maybe never dealt with anybody in your life that you would let go out into the world, do the thing opposite of what you told them to do, and for them to come back to you broken, and you embrace them. Not what I told you so. Not what look at you. You jacked up. I might be able to help you, but you gonna have to listen to me from now on. I didn't catch that in the parable, by the way. The father didn't even say, now listen, you don't leave again. I didn't even hear that. I just heard him say, yo, you was dead. You are found. You was lost. You found. You alive. Whew. Meaning you went out there and you still, that could have killed you. I'm so grateful that you're alive, that you had the wherewithal to come back. That's all that matters. We're going to figure everything else out. And so the father embraced the son with so much grace and so much love. He put the best robe on him. He didn't halfway help him. Now, a lot of people got people in our lives that maybe we said do X, Y, and Z. They didn't listen and they went off and they fucked around and found out. And then they came back and they was like, yo, you was right. And all we got for them is like, yeah, I tried to tell you. And it's like, yo, well, is it, maybe you can put me on, like, I know we was in a singing group and I said we wasn't gonna make it and I just wanted to do my own thing, and now you big and bag and you rich and you famous, you know what I'm saying? Let me just be security. And the nigga be like, yeah, you security, nigga. You get that nigga the lowest job, like, yeah, that nigga that should have listened to me. Versus a dude being like, hey, bro. Versus a dude putting dudes on, right? Nah, bro, you used to do music too. I'm gonna give you a deal. I'm gonna just pay for everything. We're gonna do a music video. I'm gonna put you on. I'm putting you in position. I'm just glad you here. Some people, that's love right there, right? And I think the two lessons is humble yourself like the prodigal son and remember that your father has riches. Remember that there's people, whether it's your mother, your father, your aunt, or your uncle, your brother, siblings, whatever, there's people that got something that can assist you. But you got to humble yourself. You got to come back like, yo, I sinned against heaven and I sinned against you. I was on some BS. I had a bad attitude. I was talking crazy. I didn't want to listen to you. I wanted to do things my way, but it didn't work out. Now I'm coming back a little bit humble. I'm not coming back saying you owe me anything. I'm saying, hey, let me cut the grass. Let me rent the room out. Let me work for it, right? You got to humble yourself. And you'll find that the people on the other side of that will be glad that you're back, and they would love to help you. They would love to be a source for you, a resource for you, right? Yeah. Shout out to the prodigal son. Shout out to the father with the two sons. And eventually the older brother, he softened up. You know, I'm sure he softened up. He had to come to realize, like, because like the father said, hey, don't trip. You were with me the whole time. While he was out there suffering, you was here living a good life. Everything I have is already yours. What you talking about? Remember, that nigga blew his inheritance. Like, everything is yours. Anyway, Prince Amir out. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Hopefully you made it to the end of the video. That's all I got to say. Peace.